Well, I'm going to go ahead and introduce myself. My name's Dr. Ed Shoemaker, also known as Dr. Rad, the attachment code breaker. And I am a licensed mental health counselor in the state of Florida, a nationally certified trauma focused cognitive behavioral therapist, and an accredited adoption competent clinician. And with me today as my guest on the Dr. Rad Attachment Codebreaker is Devon Rismay. And Devon, how long's it been since I've known you?
Uh, Too long, man, make me feel a little old, man. Since 16, I'd say about 16, right? 15,
Uh,
16,
yeah, about 15,
um,
16, probably about 16 years, right?
something like that. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
It's
about
been a while,
16
man.
years.
Yeah,
And I know we got a lot of ground to cover in
yeah,
16 years. So I think we might make this a two-part episode. How's that?
yeah. That sounds good. There's a lot of ground to cover, So I'm
Yeah.
sure we need to fit as much as we can in, right? So
Well, I'll go out and, I first met you, Devon, and I don't know if you remember, but I met you and your mom or prospective mother,
yeah,
Natalie, at the Stetson University Library about 16 years ago. And we met there and you were in the process. I guess Natalie had been your mentor for a while, right?
yeah, yeah. Yeah, something like that. Yeah. So I was with the previous family, and I guess maybe she wanted to adopt me. I believe. But this other family stepped in. Um, that didn't work out, and then she came in the picture. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, I remember that. We spent many nights together during that period of time. But
Yeah.
what I'd like the viewer to know, if possible, is, tell us a little bit about your story, Devon, about how you got to Natalie, how you got into the system and so forth. Because as you know, I work with a lot of kids that have gone through attachment trauma
Right.
and families, and my primary specialty is working with adoptive parents and just working with them to make things work out, so they can, make them their forever families. But why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about your history of what led up to Natalie, some of the, you know, some of the highlights of with Natalie.
Yeah, of course, of course. So, to make a long story short, I mean, I spent 11 years in the system. And from my recollection, from what I remember, right, it's been so long. I was, with my biological family from about the age of 0, 1 years old to about 5. And then I got put into the system around that age. Then I was in group home for another 5 years. Then I came to Florida, of which I then spent another 5 years. Uh,
Where
in
did you
this
come from initially, Devon?
Yeah, so I was in the Virgin Islands, more specifically St. Croix. So I was in a group home over there. That's where most of my family was stationed at. Um, so I was with my grandmother, right? And some things happened with that, and then I got put into the group home. Then I spent, yeah, like I said, 5 years. And then I transferred to Florida, which I then spent another 5 years. And during that time span, I'd say around 14 or 15 is when I met my mother, Natalie. I believe it was at some kind of adoption function, and I brought my guitar to entertain myself, because you don't have to be too old to know that older kids don't usually get adopted. Um, you know, that's just what it was. And but she took interest in me at that event. I don't know if her intentions were to adopt at that point. Um, but she definitely looks like she was trying to mentor someone, and I was chosen. Yeah, she chose me. And we hung out quite a few times, and then somehow or another, the other adoption family came in, and I spent some time with them, but it didn't work out because I was, you know, cutting up, right? So yeah, I was cutting up, man. So that didn't work out, and then
When you say cutting up, Devon, you can be totally upfront
transparent.
here.
I
Tell
was a
me.
demon child. It was straight up. Demon child, man. He'll tell you. Um, I just had a lot of behavioral problems that caused me to, you know, have things not work out right because it was two other. It was another family before them that tried to adopt me, and I just didn't have it right, didn't have it together right. So yeah, yeah, right when they said they were going to put me back in the system, I kind of knew it was kind of going that direction. Um, but she was in the room and she said, "Devon, I'd like to take you home." You know, so I guess like the old cliche, right? The third time's the charm. Uh, you know, uh, it was a lot of ups and downs. Even to today, there's still a lot of ups and downs, but um, she was stubborn like me, and she didn't fold, right? So
I remember I used to, when we would spend those evenings together at the house, before you were adopted, finalized and so forth.
yeah,
I know I used to tell Natalie, Natalie happens to be an attorney.
yeah,
And and I would have to remind her, "Now, Natalie, put your mom's hat on now. Let's put that attorney hat away and put your mom's hat on."
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's hard, even to today, it's hard, to for her to kind of separate that. Um, and it's just ingrained in her. It's fine, right? So, uh, it's totally understandable. It's your identity. You spend numerous of years trying to get your JD, PhD equivalent, and
Yeah,
it just becomes a part of who you are, right? So that's just understandable. Try to put my foot in her shoes, so I totally understand.
yeah, and, what do you how long did it take for the adoption to become finalized when you were there? How long
Oh,
was that?
oh man, it wasn't long, right? So I'd say just about under a year, or
Yeah,
right at a year, something like that. It wasn't long before the adoption got finalized. Yeah, it was somewhere close to my birthday. Hopefully she's not watching. I don't know.
that's okay. If she is, hi, Natalie, how you doing if you're watching? Okay.
Yeah, I don't remember the date to this day. So,
But
you
you know
know, uh,
something? I remember those times we spent, in the living room talking, and I got to poke at you, Devon. Devon used to make fun of me. He
oh,
used to start talking like Mr. Ed.
oh, is that right? Oh,
Remember that?
yeah, man.
What did I always tell you? What did I always tell you?
uh, I don't remember, but I don't
Stay
remember. But
focused. Stay
stay
focused.
he did say that. Yeah, stay focused,
Stay
man.
focused. Yep.
And that is very much true to the till today, till today. Man.
Yeah. What do you
That is
think?
good.
What do you think it was about Natalie, though, that kept things together? Because I see a lot of young men and girls that come into a home, adoptive home, forever home, and believe me, you have your ups and downs. Everybody does. But
Mhm.
what do you attribute to it staying together? You know?
Um, well, to keep it fully transparent and honest, man, I mean, it really takes someone, if there's any, there's only 5 people, looks like, but if any of those 5 people are thinking about adopting someone, uh, you have to have a certain amount of grit and willingness not to back down, right? Because I know I can't speak for other kids. I know for me, I do. I think even to today, it's a behavior that's so ingrained. I tend to push people away, right? So what, I'll do. Numerous of other things to kind of push someone away. So I know back then I resulted in a lot of bad behaviors, and you have to be quite stubborn and not letting that deter you from really making an impact in someone's life, right?
Mhm.
Because eventually, that person will become an adult, and if you remain stubborn, even if it's about 10 or 15% of those things that you were trying to teach them, it will kind of make its way back in, and they'll be grateful for it um later down the road. And they might be grow up to be something. You just never know. uh so just being stubborn and willingness not to back down, because in today's world we just have a lot of um I'd say not strong-willed people, right? And I'd say that's just a little bit more so out of my generation or Gen Z, right? So Um, you just have to be very stubborn and have grit, determination to really make things work.
What would you I'm curious, what would you say to a young man, 14, 15 years old now or even older, that just feels like his mom or dad is being controlling? I mean, they're just trying to protect him and bring him up right, but they view it as control. What would you tell that young man now? Or woman?
Well, well, it's so easy, right? To be an adult in our perspective, but um, well, one we have. Uh, let's see, how should I word this? It's so hard to tell a young man, that's 14, 15, 16, hey, this is what will likely happen if you keep doing this or A, B, and C, right? They don't have perspective. Um, they're in their rebellious stage, right? They're going to be rebellious, and whatever you tell them is going to go in one ear and out the other, right? Um, what I would tell that young man um, is to, as long as you stay out of trouble with the law, you graduate high school, and you make sure that when you become an adult or a pre-adult, you got to get a trade or just find some way to take care of yourself and learn to become a man. I feel like everything will fall into place. Of course, the unspoken stuff, right? You need to actually listen to your parents and do what they say. But just going from my experience, men. I feel like it's in my opinion that men do mature at a much slower rate than I'd say, I guess, women do. Um, and I think it just really comes down to life will be the biggest teacher, right? So I think, just the biggest advice, don't get in trouble with the law. Graduate high school and find a way to learn independent skills, you know,
Right.
learn independent skills, learn how to become a man, a positive masculine man, um, that can later contribute greatly to society as he ages. So that is, my the best advice I got, right? Because I think teenage boys will continue to do what teenage boys do, and also the biggest another thing, just don't get anyone pregnant.
Yeah.
That will hinder you so much. Just don't get anybody pregnant, right? You know,
Especially when it's not time to do that.
absolutely. Do not get anyone pregnant. Um, and just really kind of just those four things, man. That's all I got, man. You know.
Now, when you were growing up, I mean, I know what you did, but I want to hear it from you. What helped you just relax and calm down? And I know
Um,
there's a couple of things that I know.
uh, man, yeah, life, right? Life will be is the b- will if you let it, right? Will humble you greatly, right? So I know with me, I have still I was still kind of hot headed, right? Even 18 and all that, and um, I just think that being out on my own so early, right, really taught me a lot. Uh,
But you did one thing, I'm thinking of that you really loved and you taught yourself how to do it.
oh yes, yes, yes. Okay, yeah. Hmm. Yeah. Well, it doesn't happen for everybody, but yeah, having something or a clutch will help.
Like playing the
You know,
guitar, right?
mine was guitar. You know, and then a little bit later, it was boxing.
Mhm.
But I'd say, yeah, it was guitar. I mean, music and boxing really kind of kept me in a repetitive. It really kept me out of trouble, right?
Yeah.
Especially boxing, right? Boxing for me will teach you discipline, and you know what? We'll segue into that. So that it kind of forced me to I lost weight. I just gained a passion for it, at the time. So I was boxing, and that really will teach you discipline and how to stay focused and a lot of attributes that kind of sticks with me today. Same thing with music, right? I mean, you have to be patient. I'm not inherently patient. I am still impatient to this day. But what does learning an instrument do? And learning an instrument will teach you the patience of the skill of like being patient in attaining a skill, right? Because it takes a very long time to get good at an instrument. So, um, for the parents, actually, I would say, I mean, if you have boys, man, put them in some kind of sport. Put
Mhm.
them in a sport, right? Because what that you they can learn so much um, from being involved in a sport, football, boxing, MMA. It will give them core values, and you can extract the values from that sport, and it will stick with them even if they don't do it professionally or the rest of their life. So
Right.
and it will tire them out, so that maybe they won't be as bad when they come back home.
Yeah. Hey, I was um, I was real impressed. I talk to your mom often, you know, with the job that she still has and everything, of course. And, you know, we talk about, the kids, when they're growing up and how you got to teach them right from wrong and be patient with them and let that trust build up between them and, the folks that are, taking them in, and build that forever family with. But, we talk about, more important than ever anything, don't
Mm.
you think that it's like what happens 10, 15 years from now, where that child's at in the relationship? And I heard that, you wished your mother a happy Valentine's Day recently.
Yes. Yes, yes, I did.
And I
I
say that wait a minute. I say that for this very important reason, because, you know, parents and kids may go up and down on a roller coaster, okay, and have their time with each other, the good times, the bad times. But, the pat on the back comes 10, 15 years later with just that happy Valentine's Day. You see what I'm saying?
yeah. Yeah.
What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think, it's gonna be a lifelong thing, right? It's on the side of, like, marriage and, like, you're making a lifelong commitment, so, um, things will, inevitably you'll have the good moments, you'll have the bad. Me and my mother, we still have our differences and we still butt heads. But I think that'll just go on for the, until, we grow old, right? So it's just having that long-term mindset, for the parents. They have to have that long-term mindset of like, am I really ready to commit to this person for the rest of my life? Because it's not going to be peaches and rainbows the whole time. It's just not. Um, and during the bad times, it's okay to set boundaries. Maybe not talk for a little bit, but distance creates. Hopefully, the distance creates um, some respect. And then when you guys get back together, you guys
Mhm.
are like, hopefully some adjustments can be made, and
Yeah.
it's just not going to be perfect all the time. So you got to have a long-term mindset,
Mhm.
because the kid's not going to be thinking like that. You have to wait for the kid to mature, and when they become an adult they'll start thinking differently, and then they'll start kind of leveling with you, and they'll be like, all right, I see what you're talking about, but you know just stick it out, man. Long-term mindset.
Right. Exactly. That's the important thing. I mean, Devon, my dad, right up to the day he passed away, 11 years ago,
Yeah.
I mean, he was telling me what to do and telling me what I shouldn't do and should do, you
Right.
know? And, that's just, that's where you wanna be at, long term, is have that relationship, even though you don't necessarily agree. And something, I think you said something very important. You you know, you gotta remember as a parent, adoptive parent, or caregiver, whatever, that, my lord, you know, the kids that come into care, Devon, like yourself, it's not easy, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, they've already lived a life that a lot of us have never experienced and will never experience in our lifetime.
Yeah.
And you
Yeah.
can't wave a magic wand and automatically fix that.
Absolutely. Absolutely, man. Um, yeah, it's gonna be uh extremely hard to just magic wave a wand and just get rid of all that trauma, right? So it's just you might as well just kind of just forget about that, right? You have to kind of nurture the process. You have to just kind of let the process do its thing. right?
Mhm.
Um, and just succumb to it, right? Just just do your best to guide them in the right direction. Um, and to bring further point into that, something I didn't mention, right?
Mhm.
Another thing that did help me, I know my situation, she was mostly by herself. And then, my adopted father came later on. But um, a very important thing is a tough male mentor, right? S-
Yeah.
uh, Somebody that's outside the picture. That person doesn't know you necessarily. If you can find some way to get him a mentor where you're not necessarily involved with that mentor or already know them, man, that can have a very big positive effect, right? Kind of like a military type situation, or some put them in some kind of male group, right? Where there's positivity around structure, right? Toughness, right? Because teenage boys need that, right? They need structure and tough um, um, reprimands from a male figure, preferably.
Mhm.
So I really think that's really, really key, right? No soft approaches, and that's why the military is such a maybe great option right after high school.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And were you in ROTC?
I was in ROTC.
Yeah. Yeah,
I
that's
was
what I
in
thought.
ROTC. I was in ROTC. So that a little bit of that. Any kind of male structure group, it would be just such a positive thing for the young men for sure. Big strong proponent of that.
Right. And probably for the girls too, to have a female that can, kinda show them that, "Hey, it's not just your mom that's telling you this. This is the world the way it is."
Yes, 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 and it'll help. And like I said, it'll help if the parents are like somehow like detached from the situation a little bit, because that will help. That psychologically that helps, because if the mentor and the parents know each other, right? The kid may be like, well, that dude is gonna be on your side this all the time, versus like they the fact that they know that you guys are not attached like that,
Mhm.
it helps the situation like that, you know?
Right,
They
right.
find a group and just figure it out.
Oh, yes. Well, you know what we've got coming up in July, Devon. We've got July the 11th at my, Dade City office on a farm. We're gonna have a 250th, like, Happy Birthday America celebration, you know?
Alright,
And
alright.
boy, I tell you what, a lot of our kids that I've talked to about you, told me to tell you, "You tell Devon if he's in the neighborhood during that time, we want him to come here and play his guitar."
Oh, that's nice, though. I may not be, unfortunately, around July, but, definitely if I make a trip, I'd love to do that for sure.
Yeah, we would love to, and, there's just so much to talk about, and, and I've got some ideals up my sleeve like I always do, Devon. You
Yeah.
know that.
Mhm.
But I hope that we can really spread this word to the kids out there, and the parents, you
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
and the parents to, not to, it's good to have expectations, but, have patience along with those expectations because, kids go through a lot. I mean, just when I think I've seen everything in 33 years, Devon, I see something new that just throws me back, you know,
yeah, yeah.
and and but I think what we'll do is, if you're up for it, doing a part 2, in the next week or so. How's that?
Yeah, that's cool with me, man. I'm good with that. Hope yeah, hopefully this reaches the kids, the parents, and you know, hopefully it just needs to touch one person. That's it. And there's a difference maker right there.
Yeah,
Um, just to recap, man, for the young man, just just follow those four things I said, man. Like I said, don't get anyone pregnant. Just stay out the law, graduate high school, and you should be fine so long as you are willing to make yourself into a respectable man. You're not gonna figure it out. Our brains are not gonna. Our first maturing point is probably not gonna hit till our late 20s. You know, it's fine. Don't put pressure on yourself. You're not gonna figure it out. They say our brains don't fully mature till about 40, but
yeah.
that doesn't mean um, you can't try to find your way. Um, just follow those three things, and you should be fine. And the parents, man, you know, if you adopt a teenager, you have to put them in something structure and hard discipline. And I'm not talking about physical.
Right.
Yeah, structure and hard discipline. So just just follow those things, man. It's gonna take time, long term mindset. You know,
Okay. Well, and just stay focused. And what I'd like to do on part two, and if anybody has questions that watch today, please send me questions, okay, for Devon. And part two, maybe we'll do next week. We'll figure out a time because this is being recorded too, Devon, so we can send it out there
yeah,
and maybe talk to you about after graduation, what you did, to help yourself. I know you went into Job Corps and so forth, but talk more about that the next time. How's that?
yeah, yeah. That's fine with me. Yeah, yeah. We got a lot of ground to cover, so definitely a part two is definitely needed. So I'm more than willing. We'll
Okay.
definitely
Well, we'll talk to you later, Devon. It sounds like my wife just walked through the door. Okay. And
tell her I said hi.
I most certainly will. She'll be happy to know who I've been talking to. And thank everybody for watching today. There'll be a lot more views when we hit this out there. And the next time we'll talk about, after high school.
Absolutely.
Okay. Okay.
I'm
We'll
down.
talk to you later, Devon.